If you are a beekeeper, please give me all of your tips. We are getting bees. This was not the plan at all. Listen, I know nothing about bees. So I went ahead and ordered 2 nukes. When they showed me the video and they just took the bees and just shook them into the hive, I cannot do this. We may be in a little bit over our heads. Hello everyone and welcome to Semi Homesteading with Abby. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's video. If you are a beekeeper, please leave comments below. Please give me all of your tips because we may be in a little bit over our heads, to be honest. We are getting bees. Now, this was not the plan at all. We just moved into our house May of 2022, and honestly getting bees was not anywhere on my radar for the first year of moving into the house. What I had assumed was that I would just have a little garden set up, maybe a couple chickens, and it would all be a little bit simple. We have a baby on the way, so I was like, let's not get into too much crazy stuff. Like, my family takes care of chickens, they have chickens, so it seemed manageable with like asking for advice from them that I would be able to keep chickens. They also garden. So that was the plan for the year. That is not happening. Instead, we were doing a garden and getting bees. So here's what happened. By the way, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you have been here before, you have probably heard me say that I am a suburban gal. I live on 3 acres of land, but we're in a community with an HOA. And so they send out like their HOA rules and their guidelines of the community. Now, when we signed our papers for the house, it did not say anything about chickens or bees. But as we were building the house, they sent out like reformed documents that said you can have both chickens and bees. So I was super excited. I was more excited by the chickens because bees seem extremely intimidating, and my husband was very excited about the bees. But we kind of said, like, let's just do the chickens the first year, and then maybe a couple years down the road, we'll have bees. Well, then there was this whole fiasco where they actually rescinded the chicken clause, but they left in the bee clause. Like, you could already have bees. I think because some people in the neighborhood had already gotten them. I don't know how bees are less controversial than chickens. Apparently everyone was fine with keeping the bees in and not the chickens. So since we moved in May, there's been like 10 months of discussion. The board is very split on the decision. Now the decision's being deferred. We just realized that this year, basically, there is not going to be time for them to make a decision, for us to set up our coop, for us to get the chicks, all of that. We're just saying, okay, we cannot get chickens. We realized that a few months ago, and so we said, well, since bees are allowed, it'd be fun to have something. Let's get some bees. So we decided in probably January that we were for sure keeping bees. We were going to become full beekeepers. And honestly, I was getting really excited. I talked to my dad about it and he's like, you should order these pretty quickly. We'll sell out before you're even close to spring. And we are very lucky in Colorado that there is a full beekeeping in-house, like brick and mortar store that you can go to and ask questions, and they're very, very helpful. So I called them up on the phone and basically said, listen, I know nothing about bees, but I heard I need to order them early. So can you help me with what I should be ordering? So she walked me through the whole process and basically said that we should have probably 2 nukes of bees. I had heard from my neighbor that my neighbor got these hybrids of Coriolis. Let me Google how to say that actually. Yeah, Corniolan and Italians. So she explained to me kind of how one of them is more winter hardy and one of them is more docile, and so the hybrid is pretty good. My neighbor also said that she had gotten 2 nukes of them. And so I asked the lady, like, is it better to get 1 or 2? She said, you know, obviously there's pros and cons. Like, having 2 is gonna be more work, but if one of your colonies isn't doing very well, you can kind of like rob the rich to feed the poor and try to help both of them. And your chances of surviving through the winter with the 2 colonies could be greater than if you just have 1. So I went ahead and ordered 2 nukes. And the other thing that she recommended to actually learn about bees is to take one of their beekeeping classes. Now, their beekeeping classes are like 7 hours long. I told my aunt and uncle about it and they were interested in beekeeping as well. So they decided to come with me, which I'm extremely, extremely thankful for, because honestly, if I had sat through that class and not already ordered my bees, I probably would have just said, we're not beekeeping. It was great. It was a lot of good information. Most overwhelming class I've ever been to. They explained the hive, how to check the brooding cycle, how to make sure you know, by looking at the larva and the things in the hive, how you can tell that your queen is functioning correctly, how you can tell the health of the colony. And all that seemed okay, kind of, until they were talking about actually transferring your bees, like getting them home. So thank goodness we have nukes. I didn't know the difference between just like getting a shipment of bees in the box and getting nukes. So nukes kind of give you a head start because they have built out some of the honeycomb and part of the frames are already built out. So you'll get like 5 frames and 2 or 3 of them should be built out. You can just transfer them to your hive. So it's a lot easier. When they showed me the videos of people transferring just the boxes of bees with the queen in like her little queen cage, and they just took the bees and just shook them into the hive, I was like, I cannot do this. So I'm glad I got the nukes because I think we can actually do that and manage it. But we also have to go drive to the place, which is like 45 minutes from our house, get the nukes, and drive them back with like 20,000 bees or something like that, just in the car. Like they have to stay cool. I figured you could like put them in the back of a truck and then transport them. But no, they have to be in the cabin with you. I will also be like 7.5 months pregnant. So then they were talking about getting EpiPens in case you're allergic and all these things. It was just so overwhelming. And honestly, if my aunt and uncle weren't there and if I hadn't ordered my nukes already, I would literally just be like, no, I'm not doing it. But I have talked to my aunt and uncle. The guy was kind of comforting in that he said, like, just focus on the first year. You don't have to worry about splitting hives yet or splitting colonies or any of these other things. Like, just focus on your first year and it will be a lot less overwhelming. So I think we are equipped with the information to do it, but I'm just so nervous about like getting the bee suit on when I'm pregnant. Can I even do this when I'm pregnant? So now I gotta talk to my doctor about if I can like beekeep while I'm pregnant. Are there tests I need to see to make sure that I'm not allergic to bees? I think I've only been stung by a wasp one time in my life. So I don't know if I'm allergic to bees. So if you are a beekeeper and you went through this terrifying phase of like, I haven't been able to do anything yet, I haven't gotten the setups yet, I haven't been in contact with any bees, so I'm in this like weird place where there's just nothing to do except for be nervous about beekeeping. If you have been in this similar spot, drop some encouragement below because I'm gonna need it. Oh, and the other thing, after the class I was a little bit freaking out. And my aunt and uncle knew that I had ordered 2 nukes and they were like, well, do we order 2 nukes? Is that really that much better? And from what this guy was saying, like, it's not that hard to keep one colony alive, and if it dies, it's like, okay, well, you'll learn things and just get a new colony the next year. Obviously, you don't want to kill your bees, but if something happens, you can replace the colony and learn from the mistake. Because my aunt and uncle also want to beekeep, because we can kind of bounce ideas off each other, because my neighbor also has a colony, I decided that it was not worth the work or the effort to do 2 full nukes. So I am giving one of those nukes to my aunt and uncle, so we're each just gonna have 1. My neighbor has 2, so hopefully if something happens with my colony, she can help me a little bit. So I think we have a good plan of attack and we should be okay. So I'm just doing 1 nuke because I was just so overwhelmed, and I think it's just gonna be a lot more manageable with all the new things that we have happening in our lives. We'll have a new baby, we'll have a full garden, so we figured that the work of 1 nuke will be just fine. Okay, it was super foggy this morning, but this actually works out because it just cleared up. So I will show you where we're putting the hives. So here's our land. We go, like, our property line is about here. There's our leach field. So the beekeeping teacher basically said that you want some wind cover because it is very windy in this valley that we live in. So you wanted some wind cover, and if possible, you want the entrance of your hive to be like backed up a little bit against something high so the bees are kind of directed up. So we figured the best place to put these is gonna be right between these 2 sets of bushes. There's like a, you can't really tell on the video, but there's a little dip, like a valley that goes down here. We're gonna back them up against these bushes facing this way. They should be directed to fly up and over the bushes and also have some wind cover. We may need to build something for shade at some point because it is ideal for them to get a little bit of shade. But I think that's gonna be our best option. So I am very excitedly nervous. We have about a month and a half left before we pick up our bees. So I am trying to just supplement my knowledge from the class with any of these good books that I have to make sure we have all the supplies. Our plan right now is to do 2 bottom boxes and 1 honey super on the top. I hope all that lingo is correct. I will keep you posted as we go, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. It also just really supports me and helps me out if you like and subscribe. I'd love to have you here. That's the update. We're getting bees. Pray for us. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all of your input and tips, and I will see you next week for another video. Bye everyone.